Hey there! In this video I'm going to show you how you can use the acrylic canvas textures in Photoshop and Canva. As you can see, I opened up the folder with all the colored texture versions. We have 45 versions and there's also 15 black and white variations. So let's choose one. I'm going to choose number 11C. And I open it with Photoshop. So this is quite a big file. You can decide to resize it to your needs. If you want to resize it, you just go to image size, and you can change the resolution and the size here. But I just leave it as it is right now. I also want to rotate it. So I go to image rotation, and I rotate it 90 degrees. Well, actually I prefer it the opposite way. Yeah, it looks more natural the way as it flows down to the bottom. So in this section I'm going to show you how you can make masking over a text so that it will look like the texture flows over some parts of your text. For this, we are going to write here. And we need a much bigger text size. As you can see, this is quite small. So I will go up to 36 and make the line height 36 too. And we write, hello, this is vintage 2 vectors. I just make it all uppercase and center it. By the way, if you need to change anything on the text, you just need the character and the paragraph panel. And if you don't see them, you go to Windows and open up character and paragraph. So as you can see, this is just very simple white text. I used Isidora Sans as a font. I really like that font. We can add a little bit of distance between the fonts here with this setting. It's just 15. And I also make this a little bit wider. Now I go and pull it in the middle, and I want to find areas. Let's just zoom in. You can use the zoom tool, or you can press Command space on your keyboard. So we have to find areas where there is a huge difference between shades. So you can see this part is quite light, while here you have a quite dark part. And this is the part that we can mask out, so that it will look like the light part flows over this T and the dark part is behind it. How do you do that? You just go onto your layer panels. Again, if you can't see this panel, you just go to Windows and make sure that layers is checked. And then make sure that you have your text selected, your text layer, and click on this little icon here. It's a rectangle with a circle in it, and it's the layer mask. So it added a layer mask. Anything that we make black here with our brush, let's just open our brush, and I choose a brush that's more round. I have all kind of special brushes, but you will be fine just with a regular, plain regular round brush. Okay, so anything that we make black here on this it will mask out the text. You see, I'm just painting with black. If we want to show something, we have to paint with white. You see, I selected white and we just turn it back. Now I want to make this part go away. So again, I make sure that black is selected and I'm not on the text itself, I'm on the layer mask. And I start to delete it out or mask it out. It's very handy if you have a drawing tablet like Wacom, but it's not necessary. I'm doing this whole thing with just my mouse. We can go a little bit to the dark part, because then I change it back to white. Make sure that I kind of follow the edge between these two very contrasting textures. And when you go back, you will see your texture flows over this letter. We can find another part like here with the S. If I start to delete it, you see that here's a very sharp edge in the texture that I can use very well to make it look like the texture, the paint is flowing over my letter. And even maybe here. So I'm just deleting it, or sorry, not deleting, masking it out. And I can decide how much I want to keep when I go back and paint it again. So it will look like that we painted the text with the texture itself. If I zoom out, you will see it much better. So this is how you can mask out textures over your text, so it looks more dynamic and interesting. Okay, next up I'm going to show you how you can add the texture to any kind of shape you make in Photoshop. So for this part I choose this 13A texture. Open with Photoshop, and I make sure that I double click on this layer, the texture layer, so I can move this lock out, so unlock it, because otherwise I won't be able to move it up and down between my layers. You will see that a little bit later. I write new text. gonna make it a little bit bigger. That's good. And I also add a white background because you will see a little bit later that the overall background will be white. And I move the texture on the top. So we have a white background, the text, and the texture over the top. I want the text to have this texture. So what I can do, first make sure that they are right next to each other. The text is the base layer, and we will clipping mask the texture to them. So I just right click on the texture layer and choose create clipping mask, and now it linked the texture to my text. I can move the texture layer however I want to get the perfect look. Like I really like this, it has some dark in it so it's easier to read. This part wasn't as good because there's quite a bit of white here, so on a white background these white parts in the E won't be easy to read. So I move it back to these dark shapes. This is how easy to link your texture to your text or any other different shapes. So you can do the same with a circle or a rectangle. You just go here into your tool panel and you choose whatever shape you want to build. For now I choose the ellipse tool to make a circle or an ellipse. Make sure that you hold shift while you're drawing a circle, and make sure that it has fill and not a stroke. So it should show whatever color here. You can change the color, so I changed it to red, and it doesn't have a border. If it would be the opposite, you would have a border and you wouldn't have inside, then you would have an empty line drawn circle, but we want the opposite, so we have it filled and the stroke is nothing for now. So we delete the text and we move the texture or the circle so that they are right on top of each other, and again create clipping mask, and now you have a circle with the texture on top. So it's really easy. Of course you can do this in Canva too, but I recommend you to try Photoshop because you will be able to make much more in Photoshop than in Canva. Last but not least, I show you a few things in Canva, how you can use the textures in this very easy online design tool. So I just set up an Instagram story template, a story size artboard, and I won't use the templates. I will just upload one of the textures. So I go to uploads, upload an image, and here are our files, and I recommend you to use the 72 dpi resolution files. Let's choose this one. Okay, when it's done, you can choose to just pull it in the background, of course, or you can use some of the cool elements. Not the shapes, but the frames. So if you want to make a circle, just insert one of the circle frames, and then you go back to the uploads and you just pull it inside the circle, and you have a circle shape with the texture in Canva. There are other cool shapes here. You just have to open up the frames. So as you can see, there are even letters. So you're kind of able to do the same thing that we did in Photoshop. It's just you won't have much choice about the letters itself. So you can pull here this A, go back to uploads and pull in your texture. You can even double click and decide how big your texture you want inside. So I want it much bigger because I don't want to show all the texture inside. I just want to show like a close-up. So this is how you can apply your textures on several shapes in Canva. And I hope you liked it. Let us know if you have any question about this product in the comments or send us a direct message. Thank you.